Hi, welcome to Common Core Algebra 2. Today we're going to review some of the definitions and properties that you should remember from Algebra 1. The first word, a variable, is a quantity that is represented by a letter or symbol that is either unknown or that can change within the problem. Our second word, terms, is a single number or a combination of numbers and variables. An example of a term might be something like 3x, or possibly 5a squared b, or even just the number -7. An expression is a combination of terms connected with either addition or subtraction. Some examples of expressions: 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. That's an expression with three terms. Or we could have something like 7a minus 3b. That's an expression with two terms. Like terms are when we have two or more terms that have the same variable raised to the same powers. Like terms can have different coefficients. For example, 5x squared and -3x squared are like terms. 10ab and 13ab are like terms. We also want to remember our properties from algebra. The first property that we're going to talk about tonight is the commutative property. The commutative property applies to the operations of addition and multiplication. In the case of addition, it would look like the following: a plus b equals b plus a. In algebra, we know that 4x plus 3x gives us the same sum as 3x plus 4x. So the commutative property reminds us that we can change the order when we write down an addition problem. The commutative property also applies to multiplication. So our general form would be a times b equals b times a. Or, in the case of an algebraic expression, we could have something like 3 times 2x equals 2x times 3. Both would give us the same product. Another important property is called the associative property. The associative property also applies to both addition and multiplication, and the associative property tells us how we group together our terms. So for example, if we are adding a plus b plus c would give us the same sum as a plus b plus c. When we are working with multiplication, we could have something like a times b times c is the same product as a times b times c. So for example, we might see something like the following. 10x times 4 is the same answer as 10 times x times 4. So you'll notice that the grouping doesn't matter. I can group together the first two terms or the last two terms and I'll get the same product. The last property that we want to look at is called the distributive property. The distributive property combines multiplication and division over addition and subtraction. For example, we might see something that looks like this. C times A plus B. We're going to distribute the C and get C times A and add on C times B. So for example, we might see something like negative 2 times x plus 3y. This would be the same as negative 2 times x plus negative 2 times 3y. Finishing it off as negative 2x minus 6y. We will use all of these properties to take a look at exercise number 1, where we want to simplify the expression and then state the property that justifies each step. In the first case, we see that 8 will need to be distributed times the 2x and also times the 3. So we'll write this as 8 times 2x plus 8 times 3. Likewise, we'll have to multiply the 5 times 3x and also the 5 times 1. So we'll have 5 multiplied by 3x and also 5 multiplied by 1. This, of course, is because of the distributive property. When we complete that step, we have 8 times 2 multiplied by x plus 8 times 3. And in the second case, 5 will multiply by 3 and then by x, and then 5 will multiply by 1. This is really an example of the associative property of multiplication. So we now have 16x plus 24 plus 15x plus 5. Now, in order to be able to combine like terms, we're going to have to rearrange some of those terms. So we're going to rewrite this as 16x plus 15x plus 24 plus 5. When we group together the 16x and the 15x, that gives us 31x. We can also group together the 24 and the 5, and that will give us 29. That grouping is because of the associative property of addition. We're going to practice some more of these in class today.